So hi everybody, and thank you for your time here. We wanted to talk to you today about putting together a marketing strategy to expand our user base at OkCupid. And we are the data analysis team here. We have been hard at work looking through some data and figuring out the ideal persona for this marketing strategy. And we're going to talk to you about some of the insights that we found and some of the kind of different ways that we dissected the data to get to those insights. So firstly, real quick, I'll just talk a little bit about kind of how we approach this project before we get to the actual insights. This is our kind of way of finding the perfect person to target in a marketing strategy via data. So through looking at the current user base of OkCupid and figuring out what are the key kind of personality traits or insights that we could find from that data set that we could apply to a marketing strategy. Because we know that, people who are currently using the app give a good clue as to who's most likely to sign up in the future. So using a data set of current users, we first cleaned up the data. We joined location data to the data set so that we could easily kind of map and look at where the users are. We reduced and kind of removed unnecessary columns and cleaned up the data. We then segmented the data and we focused on different kind of insights across the team. So we have Uday, Soumya, and Shane on the team here doing the analysis, and we each took different areas to focus in on. We created kind of different vectors that we could look at, and then we analyzed based on these different areas that you can see on the right side here. But let's get a little bit more into detail on these.
So one of the first items we look at is income. Based on the data set we had, the average salary people enter in the app was 45K. This average is based on only 19% of the people who enter the income, and 81% of people didn't even enter their income. So we can have a better judgment if we encourage people more to enter their income to the app. But for analyzing this data, what we did first was to removing outliner. For example, we had a person who entered $1 million as income to this app, so we removed that data. And based on the remaining data, the lowest salary was $20,000. And the average was 45K. Then we move to most important category we look at. First one is location. Since we are looking at dating app, location is very important, because when we're going to connect people, we want them to be closer to each other physically. So we look at to find out where are most of our users, and we found out most of our users living in California. Over 96% of people are living in California. So we focused on California more. The other thing we look at was gender distribution. Based on the data, the average male using the data is 60%, and only 40% are female. And we look at the gender distribution in different age brackets, and overall it's the same as 40 to 60%, except for the bracket age of 25 to 31-year-old, which has the largest gender gap. 38% of users are female and 62% are male.
And this is really significant, that there's a 38% female gender gap in the age range of 25 to 31. And the reason that that's significant is what you see here in this bar plot. This is a plot of age groups of current users in the app. And we've used age groups because we feel like targeting any one specific age won't give us enough of a target audience. So we really wanted to build this out into age groups. And we did that by taking, current ages on the app and putting them into age groups and try to figure out where, what was the most common age group that were more likely to use the app going forward. 25 to 31 is the overwhelming majority of users here, as you can see. So it's definitely concerning when you think about how 38% are female in that age group. Now, we also noticed that 79% of users are 38 years old or younger. So definitely more popular with a younger crowd, between 18 and 40, I would say. So we need to keep this in mind with all our future marketing efforts. I think even beyond the persona that we're recommending here, we should always make sure that we're targeting those younger target audiences. So we talked a little bit about income earlier, and now let's look a little closer at the actual professions. There's some really good data here, and income was kind of, as we saw, 81% of people did not disclose their income, but the job was actually a really, really good kind of holistic data point that we could look at. You could see immediately from looking at this plot that we have some jobs that are very, very popular among current users, and we can use this data to figure out if we wanted to, for example, to run an advertising campaign on LinkedIn. We would know kind of what kind of different categories that we would want to target. So sales and marketing, for example, are super popular. There's a lot of students in the app, a lot of engineering professionals and IT professionals, and also artists in the current user base. Now, we think it's likewise, it's also important to remember what professions are not very popular in the app, because then we can avoid aiming marketing efforts at those professions. So politicians, for example, military, construction, administration, transport, and retirees are all kind of areas that are uncommon, and we feel not worth focusing our marketing efforts on. So bringing all this together, we have all these different kind of various areas to build up this persona. So this is kind of the ideal candidate we feel who would be most likely to actually sign up to OkCupid if they were to see an ad. So as we saw, the app is more popular with males, but we feel it's super important to focus on bridging that gender gap. And so we are recommending actually targeting females so that we can maintain the quality of the app by balancing that out. So our ideal persona is female. She's in the 25 to 31 age group because we do feel like they're most likely to sign up. So if we were to hone in on an age group, that will be where we want to put our attention. She lives in California because the quality of the app completely depends on the people that are around you, and we feel like doubling down on where things are going well is an important step in growing the app. So based in California, and then works in sales and marketing, and an average salary of around 50K if we were to use any PPC or paid ads that allow us to target those metrics. So overall, this is our recommended persona, and a good starting point, I think, for the marketing team to build out their campaigns. So thank you for your time. We look forward to talking a little bit more about our recommendations.